So good morning, everyone. My name is MELIA Howard. I'm the district manager here in 5. On behalf of myself and Carla Williamson, my deputy director, we want to welcome you to the Kettering neighborhood. But most importantly, we want to announce today something that's actually truly amazing. Through tireless work and effort, our mayor has again secured additional jobs for Detroiters. So we have an opportunity right now on this site to bring in 625 jobs to this area, to Detroiters. And that is truly amazing. So I'm proud to be here, and I hope you all are as well to hear this announcement. The mayor's going to speak on that a little bit further, but I really want to talk about the community engagement and outreach that we do in the Department of Neighborhoods that really sets the tone and standard for how everyone gets this information. We really take a lot of pride in making sure that we knock doors, make phone calls, talk to block club presidents and associations, really get out here and meet the neighbors, because that's the only way we can truly be successful and truly get all this information disseminated to the residents. Ms. Williamson and myself were here last night at 8:30, still knocking doors and talking to people to make sure they were going to come to the meeting, right? So tonight we have a community meeting at 5:30. And we are really pushing and hoping for our neighbors and residents to come out and participate, because their voice is the voice that's important to us. So on behalf of the Department of Neighborhoods, I want to thank you all again so much for coming out. And I'd like to introduce you to the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan. Thank you.
Well, good morning, and thank you for our patience. We've been adding to the program here on kind of a spontaneous basis. As we've had a job seeker show up, wanted to know if he could get hired today, and a Kettering grad from the neighborhood, and we just put them all in the program so you can hear from everybody. This is the city that we are trying to build. 625 good-paying manufacturing jobs right here on the east side of Detroit. We are at the site of a high school that was closed in 2012, and behind it, Rose Elementary that was closed in 2006. This has been a long abandoned and neglected site that was a drain on the Detroit public school system. And now, as a result of this, the property will be purchased, and $2.6 million will go to the schools, be able to be invested in our children, instead of in maintaining abandoned buildings. That by itself is a piece. When we announced the FCA assembly plant for the Jeep plant, we said at the time that the assembly plant is where the cars are assembled. There are a whole lot of suppliers that make the various components that go into that car, and that we expected we would get a number of supplier announcements. There will be others coming, but this is the first. And so Dakkota is a Tier 1 auto supplier. Andra Rush is well known to people of this community. She's been in the auto supply business for a number of years, and she's landed one of the first major contracts with FCA. And so when she came to us and said, I have to be within 7 miles of the new assembly plant, it's not as easy as you think to find these sites in the city of Detroit that are this large. But we had this site ready to go, and I want to thank Dr. Vitti and the Detroit School Board for making this possible. This is also possible because Detroit City Council moved so quickly and so effectively on landing the FCA plant that we're now in a position to do so many more. And so what you're going to see here is a facility that will be partially open by next spring, that they will build out 600,000 square feet, $55 million plant, fully built a year from now on this site. And I'm glad to say that Andra Rush has agreed to the FCA Detroit hiring provision, which means Detroiters will be hired first for all 625 jobs. And so this is going to work just like FCA. I think the people in this city are getting familiar with it. If you are interested in one of these jobs, now they're not going to be hiring for several months, and the plant's not going to be operational till a year from now. But we've learned we want to get ahead of the curve. And so just like FCA, that plant won't be open until the end of 2020. But we've already started the screening and hiring process. We'll be doing the same things. If you are interested in a job at Dakkota, you can go on the Detroit at Work website today. You can put in your cell phone number, and we will text you as soon as the hiring process begin. So you will be at the front of the line, and our agreement is that before Dakkota interviews anybody from any other city, they will interview every single person from Detroit who's on that Detroit at Work list. And so my intention is to give them a couple of thousand applicants from the city of Detroit to make sure that this is filled with Detroiters. And I'm really pleased that Dakkota has agreed to ban the box, and so they are friendly to returning citizens. And we have found over and over that returning citizens make many of the best employees at a lot of our facilities, and we're creating, again, a path for people who made a mistake, who've put their lives on track to earn a good living, be able to buy a house, be able to raise a family right here in the city of Detroit. And so this is very exciting. We are going to need a couple of things. We're going to need to rezone this property to manufacturing, which we expect to get done this fall. And we will be offering, assuming City Council approves it, the same kind of Renaissance Zone tax break that we gave Flexingate. Flexingate's probably the most comparable supplier we've had. They make the parts for the Ford products that get made out in the Wayne Assembly Plant. We got about 600 good-paying jobs there. We offered the same kind of Renaissance Zone, which is a tax break on property tax, utility tax, corporate income tax for a 10-year period. We are giving Dakkota the same treatment. That will be in front of City Council, and we hope to get that approved this fall so they can break ground and have this plant open and operating next year. And with that, I want to turn it over to the CEO of Dakkota Integrated Services, one of Detroit's biggest champions, and I'm really pleased that she's building this next plant here in the city of Detroit. Please welcome Andra Rush.
Great job. Thank you, Mayor Duggan. Isn't he just great? I am just so thrilled to be part of the Renaissance coming into our city, and thank you for your leadership. It's been amazing. So thank you all for coming. It's a beautiful day. We had to do a lot of sun dances to make sure it would be sunny to have this great news of creating opportunity here in our city. We're going to build a brand new manufacturing facility, and it's right here in the neighborhood, and I have proof points, as the mayor does, and several of my associates in the audience. When you create meaningful work and good jobs, you revitalize not only your company, but the neighborhoods, the community, and the city, and the state. So this is a huge, huge occasion for Dakkota. Dakkota launched in 2001, and I could have never imagined having 14 plants and employing 2,200 men and women who do phenomenal work with our company. And it's through their phenomenal work that we're able to have had this opportunity to work with one of our premier customers, FCA. Our 2,200 team members are what make Dakkota great. I think Dakkota is a better company because of our employees, and we hope our employees walk away and feel that they're better because they worked with us. And I want to thank you for having the confidence, particularly FCA, in knowing that we could come into our city in Detroit and create over 625 jobs. So thank you again. What I've known and what I've experienced is when we create and imagine what the art of the possible is, Detroiters have heart and soul and will perform over and over and over again to prove not only that we are as good as we say we are, but we're even better. We like to surprise and delight. And I am excited to have this opportunity to engage with the neighborhood and to engage with Detroiters and help create successful, meaningful jobs here in our city. I'm going to thank a lot of people, and I really get letters backwards, so forgive me. But I'd like to thank, again, our mayor, Mayor Duggan. Thank you. I'd like to thank City Council. I'd like to thank the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, Detroit Brownfield Development Authority, Detroit Employment Solutions, Devon Industrial Group. You've been a great leader in our city and our community. Thank you for helping lead us on this great site, and Wallbridge. As the mayor said, we have several months ahead of us, but they're going to go by quickly, and I hope you will take pictures as you see the progress of this development and this site as it nears completion, and it'll be a blink of an eye, I promise you. I also would be remiss if I didn't thank MELIA Howard. Thank you very much, and Kevin Johnson is here. Thank you, Kevin. He's president DEGC. And KENYETTA. Oh my goodness, so many people have done everything on working on how we can and how it is possible, and what a difference when you just approach life or a project that way. I also want to thank our partner Magna and our customers FCA, CPK, and Modus. Thank you for allowing us to bring manufacturing and jobs back to the D, and I hope we do it for another 34 years. So I look forward to working with you all, and we have a special surprise. I want to help our mayor come up again and introduce some of our great community team members, I hope, for the future of Dakkota. Thank you.
So thank you again. We appreciate you. So today we had two amazing residents pop up. One was a young man who just came to look for a job, and another was a young woman who wanted to come and show her support. So, Auntie 313, come on up. Talk to the people.
Hey, y'all. I remember when there was a bunch of houses over here, and they tore down all the houses and relocated everybody and built this wonderful school, which I am a product of. I graduated in '75, and I'm a proud 60, okay? But I'm still a Detroit girl. Thank you for what y'all doing. I wish I could go back to work because I just walked down the street. I just want to say thanks to the city of Detroit for keeping us going strong, not letting us down. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I'm going to encourage all the young ones. You ain't got to catch no bus. Just walk. Your job is right here. Your job is right here. Just walk. It's only about 6, 8, 9, 10 blocks, but it's okay. Thank y'all, City of Detroit, for keeping it moving. Thank y'all. I'm Auntie EASTSIDE 313.
Okay, she doesn't know we're about to use her catchphrase. So, your job is just down the street. Your job is down the street. No. So I want to introduce Brandon Horner. Brandon literally came to the site today looking for employment. So how amazing is that? That we haven't even gotten to the Dakkota Detroit at Work portal yet, and we got our first person ready to go. So I think that's amazing. So Brandon, come on up.
How you guys doing today? So yeah, it's a little unexpected. Guess there was some like miscommunication with my dad and his friend. Thought this was a job fair, so I guess this was meant to be. But you know, I think this is wonderful what they're doing for the city of Detroit. You know, my dad has been helping me trying to get into Chrysler for some years now. So the fact that this opportunity has come is great. I used to work kind of for Chrysler. My last job, I was working as a call center representative for Concentrics. That was through Chrysler. So I was about as close as I got. But, you know, like I said, you know, I'm just really grateful for this opportunity, and I think it's great that they're putting it, you know, exactly where they're putting it at. Easier for residents. And I just think it's dope, you know. And, and the best things are unexpected, so I'm glad I came. So, thank you.
Okay, that's another catchphrase, so we're going to do that one too. So I want to introduce KENYETTA Bridges, who is the Executive Vice President for the DEGC. Yeah, I'm having problems with acronyms today. But she is going to come up and talk about all the hard work that actually DEGC has done to pull this project together, and it has been phenomenal, and it's been a pleasure for me to watch from this vantage point all the hard work that they do. So, Ms. Bridges?
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here today representing the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. I want to start by thanking Andra Rush and Dakkota Integrated Systems for their commitment to the city of Detroit. This project is very important to us because this aligns with our industrial land assembly strategy, which I thank Mayor Duggan for his leadership on our industrial strategy, as well as his leadership on the FCA deal, understanding that the FCA deal had tremendous spinoff potential, and this is a result of that spinoff potential. But this deal is very important, like I said, to the land industrial strategy because it does a couple things. It allows us to continue to drive manufacturing and industrial jobs, which we know is a significant impact to our economic growth strategy. It also allows us to create accessible employment opportunities in the neighborhood, as many have said today. And it also allows us to repurpose a vacant school site to bring that back into productive use. And this couldn't have been done without the assistance of Detroit Public Schools Community District. They were phenomenal in this. The mayor gave us a charge last year, go out and assemble industrial land so that we can drive more jobs for Detroiters. And so we took that charge to heart and we took it very seriously, and we started looking at opportunities where we can partner with public entities and private entities to assemble land. So when we first started talking to DPS, it was just conversations. But throughout that process, an end user emerged, and DPS did everything to step up the pace to make sure we had a competitive site that we can compete for on this project. And this site is really ideal because of its proximity to FCA, as well as its proximity to I-94. And so I really look forward to working with Andra, Ryan, and Mark McCauley going forward to help move this project forward. Thank you.
All right, anybody have any questions?
Mayor, just wondering if there's like an associated a community benefits agreement going on with this deal?
So this is not over $75 million. So the community benefits ordinance does not kick in, but there is going to be an extensive community outreach. MELIA Howard mentioned it, already starting with the meeting tonight. And so there will be an active community benefits process. It won't be the formal ordinance process, but it will be an active process coordinated through the district managers.
Sure. And was this property always like city property? How did that?
It's school board property. And so what we have done, and KENYETTA just mentioned this, we realized that we were going to get a chance for a number of supplier plants. We have a lot of vacant land in Detroit, but very few 20 and 30 acre parcels in one place. And so we started about 6 months ago going through and identifying, particularly on the east side, where can we put 20 or 30 acres together. KENYETTA and the DEGC team approached the Detroit schools, who were spending a lot of money maintaining these vacant buildings for which they don't have future plans. And we reached an agreement after the school board did an appraisal, and we agreed on a $2.6 million purchase price. We knew this was going to be a supplier plant. We weren't sure which one. And now we've reached agreement with Dakkota, and so it'll be Dakkota that ultimately writes the $2.6 million check to DPS. But DPS was a great partner, and of course, over at Southeastern, we are developing an auto manufacturing training program for Detroit Public Schools kids to be able to get in straight into manufacturing, and I have no doubt the Dakkota site will become a part of that. Anything else? Yes?
What's the status of other land assembly and talks with any other suppliers?
So you stay tuned. We never announce the deals until they're final, but we've got a number of other conversations with suppliers to the FCA plant, probably not as big as 625 jobs. I expect this will be the biggest new supplier plant, but I expect we'll see some others in the 200 or 300 employee range that make the other parts for the Jeeps. And as the deals get done, we will announce them. But it's hard work putting this land together, a lot harder than you think.
Mayor,
Yeah.
On another note, facial recognition software that's being used in the city of Detroit. I want to ask about it because it's been discussed a lot publicly, if you'd like to address it.
You know, Simon, I got to tell you, we are lucky in this town that the media really does make, in almost every case, a genuine effort to get stories right. I don't know that I've ever seen a story that has been as misreported as this one. So I want to be really clear. There will be no facial recognition software used with live stream video by the Detroit Police Department. That's not what we're doing. That's not what was intended. And even the New York Times wrote a misleading story on this, causing people to think somehow we're going to be running video and using facial recognition software. We're not doing that. Here's what we're going to do, and it's exactly what I proposed in the State of the City speech, is that there are cameras now at intersections. You can see them today as you drive around. We use them for traffic management. What they don't do is record. And so what I have proposed is that on major streets in every half mile of the city, we have a camera that will record and will hold the tape for 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And the reason is this. We have seen carjackings in this city drop by more than 50% in the last 3 years. It is absolutely a function of the green lights. The carjackers know that if you carjack somebody at a gas station or a party store or a Coney with a green light, we're going to catch you. And so we've seen people choose to stop carjacking in the city. What we haven't done is curb the shootings this year. In the last week, we've had 15 different cases where somebody in a vehicle shot one or more people at a site, where we have a description of the vehicle, but we don't know who was in it. Most cases, we don't know what the driver's or what the license plate is. And so here's what we want. When we know green Chevy Malibu, Archdale and McNichols, 11:37 p.m., was involved in a shooting, we want to be able to go to the McNichols and Southfield camera, the McNichols and Greenfield camera, see if we can get a shot of the license plate, maybe somebody in the car, so we knew who did it. 15 times in the last week, we have a description. Red Chevy Trailblazer, white Explorer, and we don't have the license plate. If you go back to the terrible case of the little boy the last holiday season, 3-year-old boy, shot and killed on the Southfield Freeway on his way to the Disney on Ice event. The only way we got that individual was we happened to have a camera at a gas station at the entrance of the Southfield Freeway when they got on, and a camera at the exit where they got off. It was a random road rage case, the kind of case that's almost impossible to solve. But because we had images of the car, we were able to track back. We've had 15 times in the last week where we've had a shooting where we don't have images of the car. And we've had more than 100 block clubs and neighborhood associations petition to have these cameras at these intersections. We have got to deal with this violence in this city. It is unacceptable. And if people believe you can drive past a group of folks at a house, shoot into it and get away and nobody's going to catch you, it makes the city that much more dangerous. And so what we are asking for is for council approval for these cameras. And I know Chief Craig is talking to the Board of Police Commissioners right now and saying he wants clearly a clear statement that there will be no use of facial recognition technology on live video cameras. And that's going to be a policy of the Board of Police Commissioners, a policy of the Detroit Police Department, a policy of this administration. And I would hope, and a couple people have tried, but I'd hope you distinguish between a still picture we capture, which we show people, this is who we're looking for, which you help us every day on, and a technology that really doesn't work anyway, that tries to do facial recognition technology off a live video. It doesn't work, we're not doing it, and anything you can do to end that conversation, I would appreciate.
Well, Mayor,
yes.
Well, the reason why that conversation exists is because the police chief has made public comments issuing his support for facial recognition. So which one is it? Does the city support facial recognition?
This is the communication issue that we have. The police chief is not advocating facial recognition off live streaming cameras. Today what we do is if we get a still shot of somebody holding up a gas station, we try to match that still shot. We're not using any live stream facial recognition. We didn't even know it was in an app in the last round of the software. What the chief did say was that he'd like the ability to do it in an exigent circumstance. We have a terrorist known to be here. It has turned out that that exception, which has never happened, has caused a lot of confusion. And so the chief is making clear to the Board of Police Commissioners, he does not even want that provision in to even use it in the case of an exigent circumstance, because we've got people who I think have intentionally misrepresented the issue. And so I don't want there to be any confusion. Chief Craig is talking right now to the Board of Police Commissioners to say that he supports a clear policy, no facial recognition software off of live stream cameras, period. That's our position. That's the position the chief's advocating. To the extent there was confusion, I hope we will shortly put an end to it. All right, did that make sense? All right, thank you all very much for being here.